I'll never forget the first time I saw this. It was late fall 1997, and my colleague, Pastor Jeff Johnson, was showing me through the new campus ministry site at NAU in Flagstaff, Arizona. As we entered the chapel, I was stopped short, for there on the chapel altar sat one of the most striking things I'd ever seen. Just like this. Breaking the darkness of the room was this flickering flame of a large white candle, surrounded by a ring of rusted barbed wire. And I whispered to Jeff, "What is that?" Thinking perhaps maybe it had something to do with Pastor Jeff's prison ministry that he was involved in. So gently touching the sharp barbs, Jeff answered, "Well, John, it's a symbol I came across that really speaks to me, for you see, the light of Christ has already come, yes, has advented into our world, and yet there's still the work, the ministry and mission of his coming kingdom that he calls us to. You see, there's still darkness and sharp pain that exists between us and the fullness of Christ's light. One thing that the season of Advent, which begins this Sunday, tells me is that people of faith know it will get darker before it gets light. And we're especially aware of this in the midst of the pandemic, even though the vaccine is on the way. That's what our church calendar teaches us, beginning when it does. Week by week, we will light new candles on the Advent wreath. But even as we light them, the darkness will increase. We also know that the sun will come back, just like we know that God will and was to come to us in a manger in Bethlehem, in the human flesh of it all, in the Christ child. These are sure tenets of our lives of faith, but so is waiting in the dark. Anyone who's ever hungered for morning knows this. It will come, but it won't be rushed. You can prop your clock right next to your face on the pillow. Or you could count some sheep. Or the night creatures will stir in the unraked leaves right below your bedroom window, as was the case for me last night. Morning will come, but it won't be rushed. And so Christ calls us to watch, to wait, to witness to his light without losing hope. Family and friends of First Lutheran Church, the one who's coming in the clouds with great power and glory, as St. Mark witnesses in our gospel lesson for this Sunday in chapter 13, is not an enemy, but a friend. Better yet, our Savior. As Jesus says in this chapter 13 at the close of Mark's gospel, he might come in the light of day, but he might also come at midnight or at 5 a.m. You see, darkness does not stop him, nor should it us either. Jesus calls us not to lie in bed with our pillows over our head or to shove some heavy dresser up against the door for fear of the darkness outside. Rather, Jesus calls us to light the candle that's wrapped in barbed wire with confidence and bring it out into this world, his world. He calls us to watch for him as he comes to us again, advents again, with healing in his wings, and opening the door even before he knocks. Who knows when that will be? No one, of course, as Jesus tells us. However, he will come again. We have his word, his promise on it. Yes, watch. Watch, therefore. As Jesus ends his little apocalyptic sermon for us this Sunday, "And what I say to you," says Jesus, "I say to all, watch." God's grace and peace to you this day and in the Advent days to come, as we watch for the light, prepare for the light, proclaim the light, and behold the fullness of Christ's light. Yes, Jesus the Christ, who is the light, who shines in the darkness, that the darkness can never overcome.